Breaking news: Russia, the Ukraine asserts that the Russian ship it attacked in Crimea was annihilated. The Air Force claims the Novichorsk, which it claimed was being used to convey drones, was destroyed in the Crimean attack. The Ukrainian Air Force stated that it destroyed a Russian Navy ship during an airstrike on a Crimean base, with the suspicion that the ship was laden with drones intended for Moscow's conflict with Kiev. The Novichorsk, a sizable landing vessel, was completely destroyed, the Air Force announced Tuesday via the Telegram messaging platform. According to some, it transported Shahids, which are Iranian incendiary drones that Russia has routinely employed to attack Ukraine. The message continued. The Air Force refrained from specifying the precise whereabouts of the assault. However, Commander Mykola Olszczuk documented a detonation at the Russian naval base of Feodosia, situated in Crimea on the Black Sea, and reported that the Novichorsk was among those affected. In 2014, Russia seized and subsequently annexed the peninsula from Ukraine, and the fleet in Russia continues to diminish. Appreciation to the Air Force pilots and all participants for their contribution to the filigree work. Olszczuk composed his work devoid of any appendix. The Moscow-installed governor of Crimea, Sergei Aksionov, confirmed that Feodosia had been affected and stated that the assault had incited a contained fire. An adversary assault was executed in the vicinity of Feodosia. A cordon has been placed around the port area, he wrote via Telegram. Multiple Russian news organizations disseminated video of intense explosions and flames over a port region via Telegram. The claims of losses inflicted by Russia against Ukraine have been frequently inflated ever since Russia initiated its comprehensive invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Additionally, they have downplayed their own material and casualty losses. Moscow has asserted control over the eastern city of Mariinka in recent days, while Kiev has denied this claim. Both Moscow and Kiev have asserted that they have shot down the fighter aircraft of the other, although both sides have denied incurring any losses. Ukraine scuttled the cruiser Moskva, the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet during the Soviet era, in April 2022. The crew was compelled to evacuate after a detonation of ammunition caused a fire, according to Moscow, and the vessel sank while being towed to port. Zelensky applauds the destruction of Russian aircraft in a joyful Christmas message. For the first time, Ukraine observes a holiday on December 25 instead of January 7, an effort to distance itself from Russia. On Christmas Eve, Volodymyr Zelensky praised the interception of 2 Russian fighter aircraft, remarking, "This Christmas sets the tone for the entire year." Zelensky stated in a Christmas message that Ukraine formally observed the holiday for the first time on December 25 instead of January 7, that the country had claimed to have downed 3 additional Russian fighter aircraft on Friday. Russian adversaries will be fewer in our skies and on our land, the stronger our air defense, the president of Ukraine said, extolling the nation's capabilities in negotiating with partners, bolstering our sky shield, and defending our homeland from Russian terrorists. His optimistic evaluation was made in the midst of mounting apprehension regarding setbacks on the battlefield and the future of Western support for the Ukrainian military campaign. Despite optimistic anticipations regarding a summer counteroffensive, minimal progress has been made along the frontline, and political disputes in allied nations have cast doubt on the delivery of billions of dollars in aid. Monday, Sergei Shoigu, the Russian Minister of Defense, announced that Moscow's forces had captured Mariinka, a desolate strategic town located approximately 20 kilometers, 12 miles, west of Donetsk, the capital city of territory under Russian control. "This enables us to protect Donetsk from attacks more effectively today," Shoigu stated during a meeting with Vladimir Putin. Officials from Ukraine refrained from commenting on the potential seizure of the town. Ukraine reported that in addition to the 2 Russian aircraft shot down overnight, 28 Russian drones were intercepted by its air defense forces. The Air Force reported that 31 drones were launched, but the 3 that failed to intercept their intended target were not specified. According to a summary provided by the Ukrainian Presidential Office, Russian attacks over the previous 24 hours injured at least 4 and murdered 1 civilian. The demise transpired in the town of Chornobayvka, situated in the Kherson region, a territory besieged by the Ukrainians and subject to frequent assaults. In July, Zelensky ratified legislation to advance the Christmas public holiday. Zelensky announces the destruction of Russian jets, sets the mood for the following year. The Christian faith in Ukraine is primarily Orthodox, but it is divided between 2 denominations, one of which was historically affiliated with the Russian Orthodox Church, the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, which had been considered schismatic and refused to acknowledge the authority of the Russian Church, received complete recognition in 2019 from the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, the highest authority in Orthodoxy. After the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, a division of the Russian Church, declared that it was severing ties with Moscow and regarded itself as independent. Nevertheless, in observance of the liturgical calendar that is shared with the Russian Church, its parishes will celebrate Christmas on January 7. A significant number of Ukrainians enthusiastically acquiesced to the alteration, perceiving it as a constructive progression that would bolster their cultural autonomy from Russia. It's historical justice, said 44-year-old serviceman Yevhen Konik, whose family attended traditional celebrations at the Kyiv Open Air Museum. In addition to moving forward with the world, we must also advance with our nation's traditions and eradicate the remnants of our imperial past. Konik, who is stationed in Kyiv, expressed optimism for next year's outcome despite recognizing the perilous situation on the front lines. Everyone anticipated significant advancements on the front this year, but it transpired that the forecasts were overly sanguine. In addition, the adversary was making preparations, he stated. Zelensky's jubilation over the destruction of Russian jets establishes the tone for the following year. President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday that Ukraine's armed forces had destroyed 5 Russian aircraft in a week, professing confidence this would bolster the country in its conflict with Russia. Zelensky stated in a post on X, which was formerly Twitter, that the endeavor boosted the nation's Christmas spirit. Within a week, Russian terrorists lost 5 aircraft. Zelensky wrote, "This Christmas sets the proper tone for the entire year ahead, the tone of our capabilities. Capabilities in negotiations with partners. The capacity to reinforce our sky shield. The capacity to safeguard our nation against Russian terrorists." According to Zelensky, Ukrainian forces were able to fire down approximately 30 Shahid drones, a number of missiles, and 2 additional Russian Su aircraft. "The stronger our air defense, the fewer Russian fiends will be in our skies and on our land," the Ukrainian leader added. Ukraine announced earlier on Monday that 2 Russian warplanes, a Su-30 and a Su-34, were destroyed by its armed forces on Christmas Eve. Kyiv reported last week that 3 Russian Su-34 fighter bombers were brought down by its forces. The claims have not been independently verified by Newsweek. On Monday, Russian authorities were contacted via email by Newsweek seeking comment. In a post commemorating Ukraine's second Christmas at war, Zelensky expressed gratitude to the nation's armed forces on X. "I appreciate all those who secure our country's defense both on Christmas and on weekdays, who withstand enemy attacks and show steadfastness wherever they are," he continued. "All those who assist. I am profoundly grateful to every single one of you. Greetings on Christmas, Ukrainian people. May this joyous occasion illuminate the entire coming year for us," he continued. Russia and Ukraine have been embroiled in a conflict that has lasted for nearly 2 years, ever since Moscow's invasion in February 2022. Following an initial surge in backing from the United States and European powers, support for financing the war endeavors has since diminished. Regarding the financing of Ukraine's aid, the Biden administration and Congress have reached an impasse in the United States. Recent reports indicate that the White House and the Pentagon are running low on funds to aid Ukraine by the end of the year. There is a waning public sentiment regarding the United States' support for Ukraine, and certain Republicans in Congress have developed a skepticism regarding the nation's continued assistance to the Eastern European country in its conflict with Russia.